Good evening, I'm Daisy Richards, and welcome to Friday's edition of the Regional News. We begin with news from Martinique. A new wave of unrest on the French Caribbean island of Martinique has resulted in one death and numerous injuries as protests over high prices escalate. Authorities reported Thursday that a man succumbed to gunshot wounds amid violent clashes between demonstrators and police, which also left 12 officers injured. The island, home to approximately 350,000 residents, has faced weeks of turmoil fueled by rising living costs. AFP reports that from Wednesday night into Thursday, protesters looted shops, set up burning barricades, and clashed with law enforcement. According to the local prefecture, the deceased was found by police responding to looting reports at a shopping center in Robert. He was later declared dead in the hospital, prompting an investigation into the circumstances of his death as authorities confirmed that police did not fire their weapons during the unrest. Preliminary reports indicated that among the injured officers, one suffered gunshot wounds. Clashes continued throughout the night, with burnt-out vehicles obstructing traffic on the major road in Fort-de-France, the island's capital. By early morning, firefighters were still extinguishing smoldering debris in the city. Schools across the island remained closed on Thursday as a precaution. The unrest stems from long-standing grievances among residents of France's overseas territories regarding the high cost of living. In Martinique, food prices are reported to be 40% higher than that in mainland France. The protest, initiated by the Assembly for Protection of Afro-Caribbean Peoples and Resources in early September, demand that food prices be adjusted to match those on the mainland, though that measure has since been lifted. While in Antigua, during one of the most critical periods in recent history, the COVID-19 pandemic, a former nurse orchestrated a widespread vaccination card fraud scheme. Jamisha Millwood, a mother of two from Bolans, Antigua, has admitted to 22 charges, including 21 counts of forgery and 1 count of larceny for stealing the blank cards. Millwood's scheme, which reportedly involved charging at least $1,000 per fraudulent card, not only undermined the vaccination efforts, but also potentially endangered countless lives. The fraud came to light when a temporary IT system outage on November 13, 2021, led to a new protocol that inadvertently provided Millwood with the opportunity to exploit her position as a screening nurse. Her plans unraveled just days later when residents began arriving at the vaccination center with suspiciously completed cards. While her role allowed her to write on vaccination cards, she egregiously overstepped by certifying vaccinations, a right reserved exclusively for nurses who administered the shots. A meticulous investigation included the engagement of a handwriting expert who confirmed Millwood's involvement by comparing the fraudulent cards with known samples of her writing, left little room for doubt. The evidence was so compelling that Millwood, who had initially denied all allegations before Justice Tunde Bakre in March, reversed her stance and entered guilty pleas to all charges during Wednesday's court appearance. She is now awaiting sentencing. Finally, news from Brazil. Indigenous organizations in the Brazilian state of Pará said they were not consulted by the government before it signed a deal with multinational companies to sell carbon offset credits to support conservation of the Amazon rainforest in the state. Amazon.com Inc. and other firms agreed last month to buy carbon credits valued at $180 million through the Leaf Coalition Conservation Initiative. which it helped set up in 2021 with a group of companies and governments including the United States and the United Kingdom. At the time, Para Governor Helder Barbalo said the deal had the participation of indigenous peoples and traditional communities. But on Tuesday, 38 indigenous and community organizations from Para signed a public letter denouncing his failure to consult them. The agreement is the Leaf's first deal in the Amazon, the world's largest rainforest, which is vital to curbing climate change because of the enormous amount of greenhouse gas its trees absorb. The deal foresees the purchase of up to 12 million tons of carbon credits generated by reducing deforestation in Para between 2023 and 2026. It was announced on September 24 during New York Climate Week. Each of the credits represents a reduction of 1 metric ton of carbon emissions, and they are jurisdictional, so Para gets paid for reducing deforestation across the state, including on public lands like reservations. Para will host the UN COP30 Climate Summit next year in a move that is the centerpiece of President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's bid to restore Brazil's environmental credentials after years of soaring deforestation. Thank you for watching. Do have a great weekend. Until next time.